Look at that monkey face. What? Fella, come! Shop dog. That is Kohler's. It's got a Kohler engine, or Cub Cadet's invention for draining the oil. Problem is, this thing was so crudted up, it didn't operate. It's got this little lock here, and you pull it out. You can't pull it out after it's clean. I cleaned it up, but it was all cruddy, and yeah, what a stupid thing. I'm just gonna put a piece of pipe on there with a cap on it, which I don't have right now though, so. I'm trying to get this oil changed so my wife can mow before it rains, and I'm struggling with this piece of ingenuity. Something. We got a tornado warning going on here. Come on, hurry up. Come on.
Is there a tornado? It's a dark sky, right?
Can you open up the basement? So this is where they have this thing. It is behind all the wiring harness there. But to get an oil pan underneath the tractor, I had to lift it up with the big drill. And that puts it at an angle. Then it puts that at an angle where the oil runs all over the mower deck. So I imagine they have a hose or something that clips on or screws onto that yellow piece there to get it around the mower deck. So yeah, I'm just gonna put a little 3/8 nipple. It's 3/8 pipe thread, 3/8 nipple with a 45 with another nipple with a cap on it. So I can not even have to lift up the mower, just slide the oil pan. Just slide the oil pan in between the tires there. That's the plan, but I'm struggling. I don't have that now. All those pieces, so I'm struggling now just to get oil out of it so I can change the oil so my wife can mow. But this is a poor design here. So you twist the yellow piece and then pull it out, and then the oil runs out right onto the mower deck. I think even if I set it down and it was level, if I lowered the Big Joe and lowered the tractor down so it was sort of front tires would be on the ground, it's still going to run all over the mower deck. And if you unscrew the thing from the mower, excuse me, from the motor, then it runs all over the frame, of course. I mean, how many decades of poor design of draining out oil out of lawnmowers has it been now? This is somebody's solution, not a solution at all. I bought the mower used. It was a couple years old, but I didn't get any hose or anything to screw onto here. It looks like there is some pretty hefty threads on there. Now it looks like it's just like a hose barb kind of deal. So there must be a hose that you just slide over there to drain the oil out. And normally I would have small pieces of hose, vacuum hose and things like that, but I've moved a lot of that stuff, so I don't have anything to try to get on there and direct the oil down to the oil pan around the frame and the mower deck. And I can't quite balance this funnel on there. There, turn the tire, finally. Don't have to hold on to it. A little side note, this box of rags my wife bought, I believe, at Walmart. I thought they would have the blue shop rags there, rags in a box, but they had these. They're white and they soak up very little oil. I'd say they're closer to a dryer sheet. So, look at it, it tears like a dryer sheet. So, don't get those if you're using them when you need to soak up some oil. And keep your hands clean, wipe oil off the parts, because those are about useless for that. I'm only using them because I don't have anything else at the moment. And the oil filter there looks like it's going to make an equal amount of mess. Look at that, where the oil is going to run all over the frame there when I unscrew that. I swear, I think the manufacturers and the scrap yards and the rag companies got something going. Well, the crankcase is as drained out as it can be with the drain plug over there. So let's see how much of a mess we make here. Oh. Look at that. All over the place. What a mess. I put the rag there so it would direct it down, but of course, right below that is the mower deck. Now I got a bunch of oily rags to deal with. Somebody's great ideas to make things more economically better. I should say environmentally better. This is like the gas can fiasco, the gas can spouts. Look at this packaging for the oil filter. You pull the oil filter out of the package and then it has this on top of the seal. Almost looks like it's got a little oil on there already. Put some oil on there. And tight. So now the deal is here. When it's done draining, push and twist this. And supposedly put this little cap on here that you know is not going to last. So I just hand unscrewed that from the motor. It's got a metal hex, if you can see right in there. You can't get a deep well socket in there because this yellow plastic is right down against the frame. How the heck are you supposed to get that tight now? Screwed in there tight. Wonderful. Okay, so I got in there with a pair of slip joint pliers. I think I got it tight enough so it won't leak. But like I said, I just grabbed that yellow thing and just unscrewed it by hand. And it wasn't leaking before. Probably was just a little teeny tiny bit and it wasn't noticeable. Oil was probably evaporating that little bit. This machine's got oil all over it now from just doing an oil change. Sheesh. Is this only as far as we've gotten as a society? What's kind of nice is Cub Cadet put a sticker inside the hood here. Got the oil filter, air filter, part numbers, but it says oil capacity 57.6 ounces. So we are starting right here with the oil. These are quart lines here. So 57, that'd be over 1.5 quarts, be like 1 3/4 quarts. We'll see what it takes here. So we're at about 1.5 quarts now. Between that line is 1, and there to there, and there to where the oil level is left. I'd say that's about 1.5 quarts. We'll let that run down the fill tube so we can get an accurate read here. More oil for when I do the deck of the trailer. All right, let's see what we've got. That is not quite full, so I said about 1.5 quarts, so a little more. It's probably going to be the 1 3/4 quarts. I guess that's close to the whatever it said on the label there, 57 and let me look, 57.6 ounces. And call that full. We'll run it and the oil filter will get filled up and then we'll check it again. So that's what it took to change the oil. 1 3/4 quarts on this little lawn tractor. That's the mess I made, even though I had this towel laying down in my best efforts to control the poor design of trying to get the oil out of this thing. I'll give you a shot of where that oil drain is at. See, it's right above the mower deck. I got the tractor down on the ground now. It's not lifted up. So I guess there's a hose. You'd probably pull this cap off. There's probably some flexible hose that I didn't get with this because this was a couple of years used. You can see it's kind of hose barbish looking. This plastic thing, and we all know what happens to plastic as it ages, right? Gets brittle. So then when you in the future go to twist this and open it up, got those little ears. If you can see those little ears there, that's probably gonna break off. And then it won't function anymore. So I'm gonna solid pipe it out 45. See if I can show you this. Out, straight out, a 45, and with a cap on it. And I'll just unscrew the cap and it'll drain straight down to that point. So I'll have to have a really shallow pan, or I'll have to lift up the mower again, the whole unit, to get a pan under there. Silly. Just silly. And now it's sunny out. We got a bunch of wind and a little bit of rain, and that was it. What do you think, guys? Is that exciting? All that wind? Huh? Do you like that wind? Here are a couple of goofballs. You're a goofball. Come. Come on. Okay, let's talk. What's in your toolbox? Okay, I thought I'd play a little show and tell as far as what's in your toolbox kind of subject matter. This is one of the areas where I keep a lot of hand tools and some supplies in there for different things, electrical, or different types of projects that need certain tools or supplies. This is a what they call a flat file cabinet, or a blueprint cabinet, or blueprint file. I got these pretty reasonable. There's 3 separate cabinets here. Kind of a mixture of handles. Some of these came with riveted on handles, that's these, and then the more square ones are actually, there's a screw inside there, so those can be removed. But that's the way I got it. I switched some drawers around recently to make it a little bit more organized. And yes, I did go through the drawers, some of the drawers, and organize them a little bit from where they were before I started the camera here. I'll bring you in closer and we'll start working through most of the drawers. I'm going to be zooming you in and out so you can see what's what, but here's the first few drawers and how they're labeled. The top one is files and screwdrivers, or any similar type of tool, a scraper, a pick, pens and pencils and markers are all in there. Next one is wrenches and sockets, and that could be just a variety of, and it's kind of a mishmash in here because I have tools, more tool sets that are in toolboxes that I bring with me as we're working on a move, and also when I work on vehicles that are outside. So I have more of the sets associated with those activities. This is kind of a mishmash that I kind of the get by tools, the get by wrenches and sockets, kind of a mixture of things. Pliers, scissors, pipe wrenches, related things, hammers, anything related to a hammer, a chisel, a punch, piece of brass or aluminum for pounding, pry bars, things of that nature. Saws, this is mostly scroll saw items in here. I did have some saws in here. I've since relocated those, but I have a lot of 1/4 inch drive, overflow, extra stuff in that. So I'll zoom you in closer and we'll start working down these first 5 drawers, starting with the files and screwdrivers. Okay, starting with this drawer here. Like I said, screwdrivers, pens, pencils, markers, any type of pick or scraper, knives, small flashlights, anything I need real quick to work on something, to keep it working, to fix a little something, to keep moving on a project. So I'll go through how I have this laid out. This is a mishmash of screwdrivers, of course, but basically they're organized. Phillips are on my left-hand side, slotted are on the right-hand side. So I do have some combination type screwdrivers in here. This is a ratcheting type. This one I bought recently. I thought that might save some wrist work. I have older ones, big ones, some that are part of a set, like these green ones go with these red ones over here that somebody bought me. I just have a lot of different ones for different reasons. Some I've modified, like this one I ground the tip down a little bit to work on adjusting the thresholds on door sills. And sometimes when you buy a set of screwdrivers, they just don't have everything you need. Like sometimes you just don't have a narrow one like that. So that's just, I don't know where I got that, garage sale probably, but some are magnetic tips, and sometimes you want a magnetic tip, sometimes you don't want a magnetic tip, a magnetized tip. This little bin here, I have a lot of awls, tweezers, these 3-sided scrapers, deburring tools, a lot of picks, smaller screwdrivers, and of course markers, pens, and pencils. The things that, I'm right-handed, so whatever I use the most, I try to put on the right side. So the slotted screwdrivers are on the right side, because I tend to use those more. Also, things that I tend to use more, I try to keep in the front of the drawer if possible. You know, utility knife, flashlights. This is kind of a recent addition. I haven't used this as a pick set. Can't remember where I got it. Performax, yeah, like a local big box store. That's where I got that from. Lots of different files, different file sets. Both of these I actually bought recently. File cards for cleaning your files. And this particular file has been coming in pretty handy, and it's actually called a handy file made by Nicholson. And it has a double cut on one side, a single cut on the other side. It's got already a rounded handle, so it doesn't have the pointy tang like that would go in a wooden handle. that I tend to keep kind of real handy, right hand side for me, like I said. Use that a lot. Use it on the lathe a lot. I have one that I keep on the lathe. It's just a single cut though, not a double cut. That's the first drawer. Second drawer, like I said, this is going to be a mishmash of wrenches and sockets. I'm kind of a scavenger, so I'll scavenge. You know, sometimes people are just getting rid of tools, and I'll take those just in case one day I'll need that socket or that size or whatever. But as you can see here, like I said, it's a mixture of stuff, impacts, deep wells, all different manufacturers of different wrenches here. I got some Craftsman in there, Allen wrenches, Allen brand of wrenches, and as well as my Allen wrenches, hex wrenches, Bondis. I like Bondis brand. Anything associated with those, all these pipes that I would use with the Allen wrenches to break something loose, those are all kind of organized like that. Some people look at this and, gee, that's messy. How do you know where stuff is or to put stuff back because it doesn't have the foam cutout? I don't like the foam cutout, the Kaizen foam it's called. Reason being is it really limits what you can put in your toolbox. You have to have it all cut out, and it looks very nice and neat. I suppose if you just did one type of work and you had one type of tools maybe, or one variety of tools, and that's all you needed. But you know, I can work on a car, a tractor, a woodworking machine, a metalworking machine, electrical, plumbing. So yeah, that would be too limited for me if I'd have to have probably 4 of these sets of drawers if I had the Kaizen foam in there and everything cut out just for that certain tool. So I kind of know where things belong, just the way I've got it organized by drawer and what's in the drawer. Again, I'm right-handed, so whatever's on the right side of the drawer or up front is what I use the most. So I do use adjustable wrenches or crescent wrenches quite a bit, unless I really, if I'm doing a lot of a certain fastener, yes, I'll get out a socket or a combination wrench just for that size. Or if the fastener is tight, then of course, you know, I'm not going to be cranking on it too much with an adjustable wrench. Usually the larger size fasteners is where I would use the larger adjustable wrenches more often. You can see I have a bunch of different ones there. And I have more in other toolboxes and in other locations. But that's that. A lot of older miscellaneous kind of wrenches, things for table saws and things of that nature are kind of up in there. These trays, I should probably tell you, I got these trays, I don't even remember where, a local big box store maybe. Maybe I got them at a garage sale, I don't know, but it helps out. One of the disadvantages to these file drawers is they don't come out far enough sometimes, and you'll see in some of the other drawers I actually had to put some wood spacers back there so stuff wouldn't, smaller items wouldn't get back there too far, and I wouldn't know where that item was located, where that tool was after a time. But those 2 pliers. Pliers and anything plier-like. It could be vice grips, it could be scissors, it could be pipe wrenches, bolt cutters, strap wrench, chain wrench, snap ring pliers, anything plier-like or has a similar function goes in this drawer. And again, everything to the right, I'm usually after some scissors or any of these pliers up front. Usually this one I use a lot, and these smaller channel locks I use a lot. And the vice grips I use occasionally. Hammers and anything associated with a hammer. I don't have a claw hammer in here right now. I have it out somewhere for some reason. It didn't get put back yet. But nail pullers, cat's paws, and again, this is for a variety of different, should I say, trades. These are more carpentry tools. This is a more of a machinist tool. This is more of a, this can be applied for several trades, I guess. This hammer, I bought this one new. This one I use a lot. I really like this hammer. I need to get a new tip for it, and you can order them separately. This has just got a good feel for me, for my hand size and that. I like the larger diameter here. And it's got a good head on it. It's got a good amount of mass here, and then the soft tips. This is like a more of a rubber, and this is more of a hard plastic, but you can see you get a lot of use out of that one. But yeah, that saves some shock to your arm and wrist by using more of a hammer like this versus other type of hammers, even lead hammers. I have a larger one of these. I don't know where it's at right now. I think it's, I have it in a toolbox to take with me when I go on trips, I believe. Like I said, anything associated with a hammer, so any of these flat bars over here, and I have lots of different lengths of flat bars, different sizes. Wood chisels, of course, cold chisels, punches, center punches, easy outs, kind of an associated tool. You might use a punch before you use a drill, and then an easy out. So I don't have drills in this drawer, but any type of brass pounding instruments, dried pin punches, and then the air chisel and all the associated parts with that. Just like I said, this is kind of a transition kind of drawer. I had a lot of scroll saw items in here. I don't do scroll sawing anymore. Can't pick the vibration, but I have a lot of that stuff in here. A lot of extra 1/4-inch drive items here, extensions, adapters for sockets, 3/8 sockets, 1/4, half. Now the next 5, I'll give you a preview or a little explanation of the markings of the drawer ahead of time here. This I don't have marked because it's got a variety of things in there. I know what's in there just from memory. I don't have to memorize every drawer because most of them are marked. This one I have some layout tools in here, tape measures, dividers, combination squares, folding rulers, tape measures, and then bearings. Replace a lot of motor bearings when I work on something. A lot of locks, batteries. It's kind of a miscellaneous, but basically it's the bearing drawer and the layout drawer. Kind of a rough layout drawer for kind of shop made items, not necessarily machinist type layout tools. The painting drawer. You can see I use a lot of chip brushes, so I paint mostly cast iron machine bases, machine parts. That's going to be in this drawer. I bought these tongue depressors for paint stirrers for quart cans. I use quart cans quite often. And any type of gaskets or silicone or Bondo related tools, JB Weld, that's all in the painting drawer. And again, I have had these, this kind of helped me to get the drawers semi-organized, leaning towards the Kaizen foam type of organization, but not quite that rigid. The cleaning drawer, this has a lot of different things, brushes, different kind of brushes, round brushes, nylon brushes, brass brushes, steel brushes, Scotch-Brite. The green Scotch-Brite seems to be what I use the most, becomes the most useful for me. Acid brushes, I use different gluing operations and some cleaning operations. Razor knives, all kinds of razor knives, razor blades, scraper knives, however you want to call them. These little throwaway ones, these ones here. Eventually graduated to that, fits into your hand better, so you're not having to hang on to it with your fingers. It can kind of be in your palm a little bit. Just a progression, a change I use for when I do electrolysis. I'll cover that maybe in another video. A lot of these eye bolts and these bolts are associated with the chains and the electrolysis. That's rust removal process. Polishing items. On top of here, I used to have my grinders and polishers. I have those packed away right now, so, but that's where that stuff will get used, right up above here. So, clamps. Any type of clamping mechanism related item. So I have bigger clamps that I used to keep in here, but I have those packed away in some bins or boxes, where, I don't know. But usually I have these stacked up. I can utilize more space by stacking these. I got them laid out now just because I have the room in the drawer right now. So you can see there's C-clamp. Hey, knock it off. There's spring clamps, these little chip clippy things. I use these for when I glue stuff together, thin materials. I have some small, really small spring clamps for when I glue thin materials together. Things like clothespins, little office related type clamp. Hey, knock it off or you're going out. And these little C-clamps, I do use these quite a bit for small items. Bobby pins, I even use these for holding things that I'm working with, gluing things together, sometimes just holding on to things so I can work on them. Put them together with a bobby pin actually. So. Of course some cardboard to put in between the clamps for and then clamping softer materials. Grinder related items. Steel brush wheels, as well as a lot of different kind of grinder wheels, some green wheels. Lots of arbors and washers and spacers. Lots of different items there. Okay, these next 5 drawers, I'll read them off to you. This is the electrical tools and supplies. Saw blades, that could be anything from a 10-inch circular saw, table saw or miter saw blade, down to a 6-inch circular saw blade. hacksaw blades, things like that. These are just different materials. I do have some tools in there now temporarily because, like I said, I'm in the process of moving, and then different types of tool sets. So we'll go through these one by one. This is the electrical tools, and I'm actually in here quite a bit whenever I'm working on something. Electrical is probably the most sensitive part of a piece of equipment. So it gets damaged a lot or it needs to be upgraded. So that's all the tools and equipment related to that. I do also have hanging here on the wall, and I'll move the camera so you can see it. I do have this electrician's pouch very filled up. I used to be a remodeling contractor, so I would run into, having to deal with electrical on most projects. But since I've quit that trade, I'm retired now. And, but this comes in handy for when I'm working around the house, working on a piece of equipment, even a car or a trailer. I can bring this with, and I'll have most of what I need in there already. And that is everything from cutters, wire strippers, knives, probably 3 or 4 different sizes of zip ties, testers, just a lot of different things in there. So whatever tools I don't have in the tool pouch or whatever you want to call that thing, I'll have them in here. That usually ends up being this ratchet crimper. Sometimes I'll need that when I'm working on something. But of course, extra strippers, I don't know why I have all these wire strippers. I probably have about 6 of them. For lots of small wiring jobs where it's kind of intricate, these come in pretty handy. Small side cutters, these little guys for putting wires in there or pulling them out. That's really handy for that. I use that size of stuff when I work in manufacturing, working on hot runners on injection molds, a lot of wiring, thermocouple wires and the heater wires. Lots of connections, small connections that need to be made there. The rest of this is a variety of things, anywhere from things that would be used on a motor or a machine, these rubber grommets, the heat shrink tubing, all these different clamps, connectors, butt connectors, wire nuts. I have lots of different numbering sets. I'll show you some more from another drawer. That often comes in handy. Brass nuts. More different clamps and fasteners. This is all filled with different types of electrical fasteners. Saw blade drawer, kind of self-explanatory there. Saw blade. Different materials in these 2 drawers, and then this bottom drawer. Let me see if the camera is picking that up. Yeah, for the most part. This is different tool sets, bearing splitters, pullers. These are new drill bits, tap and die set, grease gun. This is a crimper for larger. This should be in the electrical drawer. I have room there now since I organized a little bit. That is a crimper for large, very large connectors. More number sets and letter sets. This is all filled with numbers, letters. I think there's some stencil sets in there. And some kind of overflow from different drawers that won't fit in there. Some electrical stuff here. This I could maybe put that up in that drawer. More bits, 1/4 inch drive type of bits, layering tool, things like that. And usually how I organize or choose what to put in a drawer is pretty consistent for each toolbox I have. I call this a toolbox or tool storage. I have a machinist box, and then I have a mechanics box, an old craftsman mechanics chest and roller cabinet. So basically the top drawer would be files and screwdrivers or like type of tools, and then sockets and wrenches, pliers, hammers. I will go down, even though they're different toolboxes in different locations, serve different purposes. I try to organize the hand tools, what hand tools there are. Say with a machinist box, you don't have a lot of hand tools, but still try to organize them in a similar manner. So when I go to that toolbox, I know generally where to start looking for a tool. If I haven't been to that toolbox for a while, I would still know that, okay, I need a screwdriver, so it's going to be probably in the top drawer, and so on. This is my machinist boxes, machinist tools. I was a mold maker, but I was always on the mold repair end of things. I was always in production shop, so there was a lot of mold repair that needed to happen. So I was always on that end of it. Use a lot of the similar tools and machines that a mold maker, a die maker, or a tool maker would use, or as machine tools, bridge ports, milling machines, surface grinders, occasionally some lathes to repair parts or make replacement parts for the molds. This would be plastic injection molds. Okay, it's hard to get you in here to see everything, but this is more of the larger tooling used for holding work pieces, mostly on surface grinders, on grinding machines. Some of these I made, some of these I bought. This pin grinding fixture I made. It has several extensions and a base for grinding pins. This angle plate I made. Pull some of this stuff out of here. Let me see if you can see this in the camera. This pin grinding fixture I made, let's see, I got a date on there, I think 1990. The different extensions for longer pins, and then you can, it's the angle plate I made, 1989 I made that. Of course you can put this up on top of here, clamp it on there. I made some clamp sets to go with it as well. These trays, clamps like this, similar to what would be on a machine tool, a milling machine or something like that. So longer clamps, shorter clamps. Different, this stop to put on a Boyer-Schultz surface grinder. Lots of different things like that. Sometimes you just scavenge parts of other molds that you're working on, that parts that were damaged. You can cut that tool steel up and make blocks and make different work holding pieces and devices out of them. This is a Machinist vise. I did not make that, I bought that. Magnetic parallels, magnetic V-block. Those you would put on a magnetic chuck and it would transfer the magnetism through this piece to your workpiece so you can hold your workpiece. The workpiece is usually held by a magnetic chuck of some sort on a surface grinding machine. And here again, so certain tools that are to the right and certain tools to the left. And the ones to the right in these small drawers are the ones that I would tend to use more. Center drills, pin vices, easy outs. We're always getting out broken screws in a manufacturing environment. Some layout tools, all kinds of scales. Little stones, little files, little needle file sets, both diamond and carbon steel, ruby stones, things of that nature. Machinery's handbook in there. Starting over here, this is more milling related items, edge finder. And getting into the taps and dies in here, mostly taps, larger taps, larger pipe taps. Injection molds have water flowing through them to cool the mold because the plastic is hot when it's injected in there, so you need to cool the mold. And so there's a lot of pipe related plumbing going on there, so you often have to do some repairs to those type of systems. So starting down these next three drawers here, a lot of layout tools in here. My 1-inch mic, because it's the mic that you use the most. Stereo mostly is what I purchased when I was in the trade. Stereo mics, indicall for mounting your indicator on the mill. Different types of items in here, extra indicators, dial indicators, depth mic, planer gauge, drift punches, pins, grip. Can't remember what's in there. That's a 5C collet holder. Yeah, I haven't been in this toolbox because I haven't been in that trade for quite some time. But once it's in you, you want to kind of keep doing it as you're approaching and in retirement stage of your life. So that's where we're at. This is more layout for drawings, sketches. I do use this quite a bit. If you don't know what this is a screw selector. This is made by Blue Devil. I don't know if they're still in business or not. A lot of companies have gone out of business, but they made fasteners. And we used mostly socket head cap screws, a lot of set screws, and shoulder bolts, also called stripper bolts by some people. But this will give you different sizes. It'll give you a clearance hole diameter, a tap drill size for it. And this is just for other types of fasteners. Socket cap screws, flathead, button head, set screws. Back over here, jam screws, what they call low head cap screws, pipe plugs, and then the shoulder bolt or shoulder screws. So that I'm always into that, usually on this side. Lots of times it's up here. And this is just a magnetic, it's got your name on it. Whenever you'd have a setup on a machine tool, a surface grinder or a milling machine or lathe, you would, the one company I was at, they made these for each guy or gal. We had some gals in some of the tool rooms. You would put this on the machine that would let everybody know that you have a setup in that machine. So they wouldn't come along and, think somebody just left this in here and take it out, and there goes your numbers. So that's what that was all about. And these usually, you either brought these with you or companies supplied them on their machines. This is for holding drawings, holding your little sketch if it's just a little thing you're working on, or if it's part of a larger blueprint drawing that you copied just so you could reproduce a certain part. Tap drill charts, of course, always using those. I keep those right up here. Well, as your calculator, use that a lot. These next couple drawers in this riser is just, I think they already covered that. That's some layout drawing type of tools. This is extra indicators, surface gauges, machinist level. I think these are parallel 7 here. Yep, parallel 7 here. Actually bought this after I got out of the trade, and I bought a mill for my home shop, so I bought those for that. So another surface gauge. I like stirred tools, like I said, stirred surface gauge. And then for me, the roller cabinet would be more of the mechanic type tools that you would need for doing the mold repair in my case. So there again at the top, I would start with screwdrivers and files. You would use a file a lot in that trade, so those would be on the right side, as well as the needle files in this drawer. Stones, ruby stones, all on my right side. I would quickly grab that and usually have the workpiece on my left side and be working it. Wrenches, that'd be the second drawer. Third drawer in this case, this is a lot of storage for tooling, end mills, drills, extra drills, things of that nature. Then this would be more of the fasteners, because you didn't want to run and go find wherever what drawer in the shop, or in one company's case I worked at, you had to go all the way down to the maintenance department to get some screws or something. So you tended to bring some extras back with you and keep them in your toolbox so you would be more efficient in what you're doing. Lots of times when you got to take something apart, and this is even true for a mechanic, for transmissions and engines, particularly taking a transmission off an engine, you would do something like this. Take a bolt and cut the head off it, thread it in there, and that would be a guide now to get that off or to put it on. And that was especially true working on injection molds. You had the hardened insert inside the larger mold base that you had to often take out and rework and then put back in, and that always assisted with that. That's why I have lots of different sizes of those for that purpose. The rest is just miscellaneous kind of set screws and socket head cap screws, lots of different brass. You needed lots of different sizes, shapes of brass and soft materials to disassemble very delicate tooling, very delicate inserts that were part of the injection mold. This is more larger. Some of this tooling, like I say, I bought after, starting my home shop a little bit. I think this is another set of 1, 2, 3 blocks. These are gauge blocks. Set of D blocks here, larger set of D blocks, and a lot of pieces like this that you would need for blocking things on or up in a milling machine out of the vise, or block it in around on the surface grinders. So a lot of pieces for that type of deal. This is just something I made, and it's filled up with items that weren't normally in there, so I'll take some of them out. I made this for when I would have to go out into the production area and work on a mold that's in the molding machine, or in case of where there was larger tool rooms and multiple benches. I think the biggest tool room I was in, they probably had maybe a dozen large benches in there that you would take the overhead crane and put the mold on there and, separate it out just like you would an engine or something, and, to work on it. So you were a ways away from your machinist box in that case, so I would have a lot of hand tools that I would use often in this box, and I would carry it out in the production area or over to the bench where the mold is that I'm working on. And I would have nut drivers and Allen wrenches, T-handle wrenches, and all kinds of picks and pieces of brass and, associated tools in there. That's about it for this. I have some larger items down in the bottom. Of course, that's what that storage is for. Magnetic bases, different things like that down there. Another thing I would have in this box would be different sizes and shapes of blocks of wood, because that would always assist you with taking your pry bar, your die bar, to try to separate the mold into its smaller pieces. And so that was always helpful. And I would put my initials on there and have different sizes all nicely lined up in there. What I have in here now is just overflow lathe parts from my lathe. So, well, that's about it for these two toolboxes. I have my mechanics box out in the garage. I'm not going to show that one in this video. I'll do that at another time after we move and I get more organized with that, because I'm going to expand on that whole situation there, that tool storage. I may get some more flat file cabinets for that, I don't know. It'd be nice to have something that large, the file cabinets, on wheels, to wheel around a larger shop. So, if you're finding any of this entertaining, please like, share, subscribe, share to some of your other social media that you're on or using. I'd appreciate that. It would help me out, help the channel grow. So, this has been That Old Shop, and my name is Mike Scott. Thanks for tuning in. Bye.